Welcome to Big Brother Basics, where we break down the basics of Big Brother 3. My name is Jacob Harple, and joining with me is the always fantastic, always fabulous, always eating Keith Guerrero. How are you doing tonight, Keith?
I'm doing good. This banana didn't have a chance.
Didn't have a chance. You were so taken aback by this episode. You had to go grab something to eat.
I did. That to nourish my system.
Well, we have a lot going on tonight. We're going to talk about the second eviction episode. We've got some showmances going on, some public callouts, some production pranks. There's so much to talk about. So I think we should just go ahead and dive right in. So Cindy and Brittany were the final two nominations, and I think the first thing we see are the different approaches that each nominee took with campaigning. We saw Cindy go for a very aggressive campaign, whereas Brittany, went for a more like laid back, not really do anything approach. What did you think about these two strategies?
I think they both fit. I think they both did exactly what they needed to do. Cindy's ass was on the line. She knew it, and she had to kind of be aggressive in campaigning for her stay in the house. Whereas Brittany, she didn't really need to do that. Like she knows there's a huge target sitting next to her, so why like actively campaign when people already know what they're going to do and vote out Cindy? So I thought both approaches fit the bill, and the only way that Brittany would have went home is if Cindy worked up some miracle, and unfortunately she didn't. I'm still a huge Cindy fan, but yeah, I think the approaches really fit for their circumstances.
Well, let me ask you about Britney because I was noticing a lot of hate, or I guess maybe not hate, but people are not that big a fan of Britney and kind of view what she's doing as, her not really doing anything in the game. Even Sarah mentioned it in her DR that she would perhaps maybe like to keep Cindy, or at least not put all of her eggs in the Britney basket. Do you think that this view on Britney is warranted, or do you think people are kind of being a little too harsh on Britney?
I think they're being a little harsh. Like I think they're rushing. I mean, rushing to conclusions without knowing what it's like to be on the block. Being the first person eliminated. I mean, I could sympathize with Brittany in that like maybe it's like a demoralizing because like you lost first in the HOH challenge when you actually tried, and then you get nominated, and then you're on slop and you're a have-not. Like there's a bunch of things that goes on in somebody's mind, and so. As far as strategy goes, I think she still did what she needed to do. I don't think this is going to be the most we're going to see from Brittany. I think she's a very smart person, and if she has any form of influence or power, like if she wins an HOH, I think it'll be a pretty interesting week.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think people should sleep on Britney. Like, think about it. She's standing next to a very aggressive person on the block, someone that's kind of in a way already dug themselves into their grave. And so the best move for Britney is to just really do nothing.
Exactly, and sometimes that's the best thing to do in Big Brother.
Exactly. Like, don't push anyone. You don't have to campaign. Just, almost let the other person bury themselves. And I think that's kind of what she did. So I wouldn't take that as Britney not having any fight. I think she just did exactly what she needed to do to stay, and she stayed unanimously. So obviously, it worked out perfectly for her.
Yep. Kudos to Brittany.
Yeah, leave Britney alone. Leave Britney alone. But yeah, let's talk about Greg because Greg and Bruno come up with a strategy to cause a couple of rifts within the supposed girls' alliance by spreading a rumor that Neha is pushing for Brittany to leave. Did you think that this was a solid strategy from Bruno and Greg, or did you think it was maybe a little unnecessary?
No, I think it makes sense. Like they're trying to make everybody not in the chop shop go against each other because I'll make the chop shop's job a lot easier.
Mhm.
So of course there's two people on the block, Cindy with an S and Brittany, and Neha's kind of like really close to them. So why not go against Neha, who's also on the bottom of the totem pole, and make her even more unlikable to the house? I mean, it sucks watching this because you just see this majority attack like the minority inside the house as far as like alliances are going, but it makes sense. And shoot, like it fills up their day by causing some mayhem, so I'm all for it. And I thought it was hilarious towards the end when Neha she gets so crazy whenever she like hears somebody like bring up her name, and then she goes to Brittany. She's like, mark my words. I'm gonna get Greg home. I'm gonna get Greg home." It was so funny.
Yeah, no, I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, I think it was. I don't think it's a bad strategy. Like you always want to try and cause rifts within the house. You kind of don't want it to directly come from you though, like because they created the rumor almost directly and spread it to Brittany, and it's kind of one of those things where you want to tell someone who you know will tell another person who you know will tell the person you actually want to tell. So I don't know. I think. We didn't get that much from Brittany about it, so I don't know how much she bought it. I don't really think she did, but yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing to try and cause rifts. I just it could be something that backfires on them and makes people see them as a target or paints this picture that they're going to start spreading rumors about anybody. But I think the plan itself wasn't a bad plan.
Something that I did get though is that I think Bruno is playing an excellent under the radar strategy. But do
Mhm.
you think his relationship with Greg is going to hinder him in this game?
I think it could. I think because obviously his relationship with Greg could backfire. Because if he gets nominated next to Greg and then Greg wins veto, Bruno's probably going in that situation. So I think it's very risky. That being said, it's always nice to align with someone that you know you would stay if you sat next to the block with them. So I don't think it's a bad strategy. What's going to be the true test of Bruno is how he plays when Greg leaves. I say when instead of if because let's come on, let's be serious. So that's what I'm actually looking forward to is seeing how Bruno plays without Greg. But as far as but for Bruno's game currently, I don't think it's a bad idea.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Yeah, I think Greg is like craving the spotlight now, and that's not where Bruno wants to be. So
Yeah, because you want to have a shield, but you don't want to have someone that's hogging the spotlight because it's gonna make that people see not just him but the people that are close around him, and that's Bruno. So I think it's very dangerous. You kind of want Bruno to maybe have a couple of conversations with Greg, being, hey, we don't have to do this. Why don't we just sit back and let this happen instead? Or, just because we can start this rumor doesn't mean we have to. The person we want going is already going. Let's call it a night. So we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting to see how those two interact with everyone else later on. Okay, I want to talk about Zach for a minute
let's do it.
because the segment that I saw with Zach, I wasn't sure about Zach at the very beginning. I didn't want to like him. I don't know why, but I just can't help it. This guy is so good, and I don't want to sound like I don't want to blow smoke up anybody, but just the way he talked about his relationship with Ashley is just so professional. Like he wants to pursue that. He wants that showmance. He wants that relationship with Ashley, but he doesn't. He realizes that by doing that, he's closing opportunities with people like Willow and people like Brittany, people that he might need later on the road. But if he's in a relationship with Ashley, that's going to suck up a lot of his time and energy, and it could close the door on those relationships that he needs. And I just think that's so smart for him to think about. Like Zach is thinking about this game like 5 steps ahead of most of the other players. I love it.
I'm so obsessed with the Newport Alliance. Like, I really wasn't sure how I felt about them initially, but them two together, I absolutely love, and I look forward to their segments whenever they're on. I love when Jordan was talking about his like picture my face whenever you wanted to pursue anything with Ashley, and I also appreciated that Jordan said the showmance is an excellent strategy, just not now. Like time is of the essence. Timing is everything. And so the fact that like they had that conversation, I mean, I just think they're fucking brilliant. Like I'm so like pleased to see really good Big Brother players inside the house that connected and are just basically going to dominate this competition.
Yeah, I think Zach is by far the most dangerous player in the game. I think he's doing a great job, and It's going to be great. Of course, the game changes and there's going to be twists, but luckily for Zach is he's not someone that the public I feel like would dislike. He's aligned with people like Greg, and Godfrey is still in there too. So if there is like a Canada nominates twist, Zach has nothing to worry about. He just seems like someone who's ready for anything and is willing and able to adapt to twists that come out his way. So I don't know. He's good, man. He's really.
Really, really good. I have not seen like such good gameplay in a while, and it's really awesome to see.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about the other half of Newport because we had both of them kind of go through a showmance experience, and we had Zach who probably did the right thing, and then we have Jordan who just starts making out with Cindy. Now I don't think this was the wrong thing to do per se. I think it was relatively harmless. But what was your reaction
It's
to?
just hilarious, like he offers this advice, don't do showmances right now, it's not good for our game. And then he just is a hypocrite and does like exactly he doesn't practice what he preaches.
Yeah.
But then he was out the door anyway, so like it's not affecting anything. And it was harmless fun. It seemed like they both genuinely liked each other. Like even in their diary rooms, like Cindy was all giddy and laughing. Jordan was pretty pretty interested in Cindy with what he was saying. So it was good that it was like a natural connection and there was nothing really like falsely made about it. Just two individuals having fun, and I ain't mad at that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was harmless. Cindy's going out the door. They find each other attractive. Who cares, And from what we saw, no one really else in the house cared. They just saw Jordan having fun with Cindy, and I don't think it was a big deal. But it was pretty funny to see just Jordan just straight up, do as I say, not as I do attitude.
I also want to. I don't mean to like compare them already to the infamous Chilltown, but they both have showmances. They're both going to work the house. I mean, it's so hard. I'm not sure. This is really early, really early. I understand that. I know. I know this is really early for me to say it, but like, it's all forming into something great.
We just sound like the biggest Newport groupies in the entire world right now.
I will wave my Newport groupie flag in the air because they are killing it, and I'm a fan.
Fun thing that happened on the live feeds, and this isn't a spoiler, just FYI. They were all in the room during like the camera mystery, and I'm not too sure what Newport is. I think it's something from the OC, or I'm not 100% positive, but the topic came up, and Jordan and Zach just started talking about how awesome Newport is and how much they love it in front of everyone in the house. And it's so funny because they all think they're just talking about Newport, but they don't understand that they're actually talking about their alliance. And it's a really fun moment, and that made me like them even more because it's two players that really love the game and are just having fun with it. And, are playing well, they're enjoying the experience, they're soaking it all in, and they're just, oh man, people need to watch out for those two.
They are so good. Oh, so good.
So let's kind of talk about another, I guess, showmance that's going on. It was a really funny segment, I think. Johnny's in bed with Kevin, and he thinks this is it. He's finally gonna score, but then Kevin jumps into bed with Peely, and we now have the Keeley showmance going on. How do you feel about these two hooking up? Because I have many feelings about it, but I want to give you the opportunity to talk about it first.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'll be quick so you can get your feelings out.
Oh, thank you.
I don't like it. I don't like Kevin. I love Peely, and I'm like, girl, Peely, you can do so much better. Please stop. And that's where I'll leave it.
Okay. All right. Well, that was quick. Well, all I'm gonna say is I think it is gonna form into something. Just from watching the live feeds, it's been a pretty consistent thing that's going on. I love Peely. I think she's super cute, and I think she's a good competitor. I think Peely's downfall is I think she will be easily manipulated. Of course, we haven't really seen too much or really seen her in a power position, so it's hard to say. That's just kind of the vibe I get. And what I have to say about Kevin as regards to the showmance, I think this is a big example of, or I guess the big difference between a player like Zach and a player like Kevin. Because you have both players who are very charismatic, very well-liked individuals, but Kevin is very, live in the moment. You know, if he sees something he wants to do, he's going to do it. He's not going to restrain himself. And whereas with Zach, we have that restraint. We have him, you know, he thinks about the game first and then other things later. And I feel like Kevin doesn't do that. I think he just lives in the moment and then kind of tries to wiggle his way out of it if something doesn't go his way. And you know, that was the big thing I was thinking about, and I think this was a big example. You know, of course Zach wanted to make out with Ashley, like who wouldn't? But he understood that it probably isn't the best thing for his game right now. Now we have Kevin, who's now won 2 competitions, and people see him as a pair now with Peely. They also see the Johnny and Kevin thing. He's creating a huge target for himself, and I really think it's going to catch up to him sooner than he thinks.
That's a good point. I co-sign with everything you said.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so this, I really want to talk about this because I thought this was stupid.
Uh-oh. Here we go. About to break down the basics.
I am. I'm going to break down the basics on this for a little bit. I want to talk about the April Fool's prank that Big Brother decided to pull on the house. So just to kind of summarize it again real quick, you know, they took all their food, all their hot water on, you know, Johnny's birthday and created this whole facade that, you know, they had been breaking and messing around with a lot of stuff in the house, and the final straw was a camera was deliberately tampered with in the middle of the night, and for that they were taking all these things away from them until further notice. And, you know, watching the feed that day, it caused so much paranoia. Everyone was miserable. Poor Johnny. Having to deal with that on his birthday, and I don't know. I thought the whole thing was stupid. Here, do you have anything you want to say about it?
I do, but I want to know why you think it's stupid.
I think it's dumb to put the whole camera prank on it because they have been messing around with a lot of stuff. They've been, you know, they did leak the HOH room. They've been breaking the hammock and other stuff. You know, they've been talking about production so much on the live feeds, and they have to cut so much. And so I get it. And if you want to punish them for it, do it. But don't tie in this whole stupid camera paranoia thing that, you know, I guess they wanted to do it for ratings, but it just seems so silly, you know. And poor Cindy gets pegged on it immediately, and it just completely destroys any chance she has of staying. Although I don't think there really was a chance to begin with. And then to make it like this big spectacle at the live show tonight, like, oh, just kidding, we April Fools, no one broke the camera, but we still made you go 24 hours without food or water. April Fools. I don't know. Am I being too critical?
I'm on the other side of the page. I really enjoyed the April Fool's prank. I thought it was fitting. It was current because it is April 1st today, and they want to be current with the times, Big Brother Canada. And I thought it was a fitting punishment. I mean, I would be pissed off if all these house guests are breaking things, and why not make them miserable and cause some paranoia in the process? So at least Big Brother Canada is being upfront with the type of manipulation that they're doing behind the scenes, right? But they really did deserve to like lose their privileges for a day because of all the havoc that they've been causing. And I also love to see, like, because nobody was at fault, who's going to be the person that's easy to blame. And of course it's going to be Cindy. And I lost a lot of respect for Godfrey for like calling her out in front of everybody when he had no like foundation for it. And it came across as like a really big bully, you know? So like, unfortunately, I lost a lot of respect from Godfrey about that whole situation. You just get to see people's true characters when nobody's at fault and they just start pointing fingers with absolutely no rationale or reason. So I thought that aspect was interesting, and it was good for me to see because it got to show me a little peek into people's souls.
Yeah, I thought the whole Godfrey thing was stupid, and him being like, you know, my strategy is I want people to know not to mess with me. But it made him look like a total jerk to everyone in the house, and it just made him super unlikable. And, you know, Godfrey doesn't have the greatest social game in the world, and I just thought it was totally unnecessary. You're totally kicking this girl when she's down, and you're not even positive that it was her. Like, that was one thing. When they announced the joke, if I'm Cindy, I know I'm leaving, I would just, my eviction speech, I'd just be like, I just want to say, screw you, Godfrey. Like, I told you I didn't do it. You called me out in front of the entire house, and now I'm calling you out in front of the entire house. You're a rude son of a bitch. I hate you. That's what I wanted. And so I just think Godfrey, in his invisible, his hide and go seek dating strategy, I'll tell you right now, if you tried to do that at a club, you're probably going to get arrested before you get a date. I think that's what I think about Godfrey's dating advice.
Yeah. I'm surprised we even blessed him by talking about him this much.
I did write him down in my notes, but I'm deleting him right now.
Yeah, definitely not a Godfrey fan.
No. So Cindy with an S gets evicted unanimously with a U. Were you surprised by the vote?
Can I just butt in right there? The unanimous evictions need to stop. There's either going to be unanimous evictions all season, or there's going to be one HOA train maybe in week 6 where there's going to be a divide in the House, and it's going to be like a 4-4, 4-3 vote. The trend of Big Brothers over time is that you want to be in the majority, so of course you don't want to have the minority of voting. But my whole thing is, if you're in the majority, why not cast a straggle vote? Or if you're just somebody like Kevin, who's spontaneous and fun, why not cause some paranoia by throwing a vote when you know Cindy's going to be evicted? You know, but there's no chance in hell that Cindy's going to stay. It'll only ruin people's games that are close to Cindy because everybody will think that their friends kept her. And so why not? Why not cause some paranoia and throw in a straggle vote? I get the whole unanimous thing, but that to me is like playing with fear, and I would really respect people for voting in the minority and sticking to what they believe in. However, I know Neha voted in the majority, but I approve of that as well. Like, I understand where she was coming from. She had to cover her bases, so if somebody were to cast a straggle vote, she would at least have that as backup. That she didn't. So I don't know. I wish somebody like in the middle or in the majority like casted a straggle vote to spice things up a bit, but it's becoming a very predictable season.
I completely agree. I think it's a big cop out when people do that. But in fairness to people like Neha and Sarah, you wanna vote out Cindy because it's very important for them to keep Brittany on their side, especially with the rumors about them campaigning. If they vote for Brittany out, then it's really not going to look that good for them. But that would have been a great opportunity for Greg or Bruno to vote out Brittany. Commit to that rumor, and then you can pig it on them even more, and it feeds that paranoia and suspicion in Brittany. And I just don't think people realize that. And we've seen throwaway votes all the time in previous seasons, and it's a really good strategy to just cause total paranoia in the house, and for some players that's what you want to do. For people like Zach or JP who are kind of right in the middle, you want to keep that chaos going. You want to keep that those sides forming, no one really trusting anyone. It works. So I would really love for us to see something like that, because I don't know, I have a bad feeling that the next couple of votes will probably be pretty lopsided.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. What do you think about the Chop Shop voting?
They're like so lame. Like I feel so bad for them with how lame they are.
I don't know. I don't want to hate on them too much because it's like, all right, you're in an alliance, you got to do what your alliance, blah 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 blah. But it's just like the way they were doing it. You could just tell that like Greg probably gathered them 5 minutes before the live show. It's like, all right, so when we go to vote, we're gonna do like the Chop Shop, and say the Chop Shop is open. I'm just like, all right, I can't deal with this.
You just brought out your Devin voice for Greg. You really did.
Full-fledged Chop Shop members. Okay.
Oh my gosh, Greg is awful. And then I was also a little like, with Ashley and Willow doing like the Chop Shop, I'm like, oh, you're making me like you less. Don't do that.
I was like, remember Christine and Amber.
It's so resonating with me, the Christine and Amber complex. Like, oh no, save yourselves, come on.
Yeah, it's like, we're good with the guys. It's like, no, you're not. 9 times out of 10, the guys are just gonna stick with the guys. I don't know. Maybe things will change for Ashley if if that thing with Zach does develop into something, and then Zach's gonna want to keep her around. So I think it's a good strategy, but the problem is I don't think Ashley's doing it for strategy. I think she's just doing it because she thinks Zach is hot, and that's not how you should play. So I'm really worried about those two girls,
I'm
specifically
I'm
Ashley.
worried, but I'm also not worried because
Yeah, I know.
but yeah, I know what you mean.
It's one of those things where it's like, all right, well, you asked for this. But yeah, so that's just how I felt about that. So we get to the HOH competition, and were you surprised that it was kind of a knockout? HOH, it felt kind of early. I don't know.
I was really surprised. I thought it was going to be a bunch of booths, and you just whoever gets the most answers correct, true, false, would. I thought that was how it's going to be worked out. But I also love Eliminator because you get to see people publicly say you and you, you and you. I just love that concept.
Do you think anyone came off bad from that HOH
Of
by?
course, the point of the competition is for people to come off bad,
Mhm.
and unfortunately for Neha, she definitely came off the worst. But right underneath Neha is Godfrey. Like Godfrey came off like such a douchebag in the entire time because he would be like Neha, and then the next person,
Yeah.
Neha, then the next person, and it's not like funny. Like this girl's like fighting for her life, and he doesn't even realize how on the outs he is in like the guys alliance, but he came across really sexist. He like picked all the girls. Like there was no strategy for him. He just picked girls. I remember he eliminated Willow. Like
Yeah, I don't think he picked a single guy.
he didn't pick a single guy. So like his game is very like basic and like transparent. What I did, somebody that I think impressed me within that competition was Ashley because she did not go into the trap of picking the person that picked her. So Neha picked her, she won her round, and she chose, I think, Kevin and like somebody else. And like I thought that was brilliant. So Ashley actually like got some brownie points for me during that competition.
That's a good point about Ashley because I noticed that too, and I think it's very smart of Ashley because if she were to put up like Neha and um, Kevin or something like that, it kind of shows where her loyalties are at. So instead, she put up just Kevin and JP, two people that aren't part of the Chop Shop, and it kind of gives this appearance that she's not with the guys. Um, so I think for Ashley's game, I think that was really well. I hope that people like Greg and Bruno don't see that and twist it into something it's not.
Yeah.
Which I feel like could be a possibility, but I think it was a good attempt, or not a good attempt. I think it was a good play on Ashley to try and hide her cards a little bit.
Can I
Um,
also tell you something that upset me during the HOH competition?
yeah.
The commercial break.
Oh yeah, I was just like, no, totally killed the
Not
moment.
because of like it's not because I'm like on my seat and really wanting to see the HOH like be done, but really you're messing with like the momentum that Neha was having, and I'm pretty sure like you're in the moment. She was in the zone, and with time, like all like the commercial break, having that time interrupt that momentum, I really think made Neha kind of like not have. I think that's why Neha lost. I feel like if the competition just kept on going, Neha was like so on it, and I think that she definitely could have won. And she worked really well under pressure. But when you're sitting there on the sidelines for like 3 minutes, 5 minutes, when it's just plain silence, like all your nerves just start building up, as opposed to like focusing on the questions, which she was doing all the time. So it sucks. I really wish the commercial break wasn't there, but it is what it is. I think that's something that kind of like ruined Neha's momentum and ability to win the HOH competition.
Yeah, I understand. It was a huge bummer to see Neha go down. She was doing such a great job. She was killing it. She was so. I loved how she would apologize after just punching the button, basically. It was so. Oh, I was. And you could just tell the crowd was just so behind her, too. Just every time she got it right, everyone went freaking nuts. It was so cool to see. And it just sucks because, the way that things played out, I'm very upset that we could possibly be saying, I don't know. I think I'm guessing that Neha is probably going to go home.
Yeah, and it's very sad. And we'll see. We'll see what Kevin pulls out. But
Yeah, so let's talk about that because I think that's the big thing that people are talking about at the moment. The Kevin winning the HOH. First of all, I just wanna applaud Kevin because I have never seen someone throw comps so perfectly like Kevin.
So
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What the heck is with this guy? Like he's
he
not
comes into
only
the
is he
show.
not only is he winning comps, he has the most comp wins under his belt now, and only two people are out of this house.
It's absolutely crazy. He came into the game saying he's going to throw competitions, and he does the exact opposite. He got second place in the first veto competition. He won the next veto competition, and now he's head of household.
What do you
What?
think?
What is that? Who are you, Kevin?
Why do you think that is? Like, why do you think he went he built up this strategy pre-game and then just it's like he completely abandoned it.
I think Kevin is naturally talented, and like he can perform well if he wants to in Big Brother challenges. I mean, we even remember like in the Have Not challenge, like he was dicking around whenever he was going against Brittany, and he
Mhm.
still won. Like he probably tried throwing it, but like he just won. So it's just that might be a matter of fact if other people know how to throw challenges better than Kevin, and Kevin like just not being able to do that. And I'm pretty sure he even tried to throw this one. Like he just hit the button without I don't with me thinking that he wasn't even thinking, and he got it right. And I think that happened twice. And then the last time he didn't even answer it, and the other person got it wrong, and he became HOH. So like you can't underestimate like the luck that's involved with these competitions. And this, like, it's really just playing out for like Kevin to be a huge target with him winning.
And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Kevin is really setting himself up poorly, especially if he does take out Neha, which is what we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. Um, I think that if Neha were to go next, who's the big target that's gonna pop up after that? Are they gonna go after Sarah or Brittany? I don't think so. I think they've been playing pretty good under the radar. They've been talking about Johnny a lot too, and guess who Johnny's linked with? It's this whole Kevin and Johnny thing. Like I would not be if Neha goes this round. I would not be surprised if the next nominations are Kevin and Johnny.
Hmm. That is true, long term. Speaking of, we are turning to Twitter. Kieran at pandabear_Kier asks, "What do you guys think would be Kevin's smartest move?"
Okay, do you want to answer this? Because I'm still unsure. Here's the thing. A lot of people think that him nominating Neha is a bad idea, and I agree with it to some extent, only because I believe that, like we just said, if Neha were to get evicted, I truly believe that he will be the next target. That being said, I think you really have to put yourself in Kevin's shoes right now and think about what's what has happened to him, and the conversation in the HOH bathroom where all the girls were rallying to get him out, the guys wanting to take him off, wanting to save him. Is it really that? Is it really that bad of a move for him to stick with the guys and target the girls, especially after all of the things that have happened? I don't know. I don't. Sorry, I don't think that targeting Neha is a great move for him, but I don't think it's a bad move. I can understand why he would do it. What do you think?
I think the three other girls that are inside that HOH bedroom when he was in the bathroom need to watch out. I think they're the three that Kevin should nominate. They had targeted language. They're talking specifically about voting out Kevin, and Kevin has every single right to nominate any combination of those three girls.
I think his best move, and this is total minority, and I'm sure Twitter as a whole will probably disagree with me, but I think Kevin's best move is to nominate Sarah and Neha.
Yeah, I think that's what I think the nominations are. If it's predictable, like based on all the evidence, it would make
Yeah,
sense.
that's what I think it's going to be too.
I think that's the move for Kevin. Now, granted, anything could happen in Big Brother. He could like switch it up.
Hmm.
He could have a soft spot for Neha somehow, and Neha convinces Kevin, like, I'm here to stay, I want to compete, yada yada. And maybe Kevin switches it up. Who knows? Maybe he'll go after Godfrey because he was also a house target a while back. But
Yeah, and my fear about that too is because that's your initial hope because I love Neha. I don't want Neha to go anywhere, and I'm hoping that Johnny could maybe talk some sense into him. But the fact that it's a instant eviction leads me to believe that he's probably going to get quarantined almost immediately. He's not going to have anyone else in his ear, and he's going to be forced to make a decision. And for that reason, I just don't see him not nominating Neha. And I think in his mind, he's thinking, well, if I don't put up Neha, I'm drawing, I'm sending a message to a lot of people. And it's not that I don't think it's not that I think he's afraid to send that message. I just don't see why he would want to. What's the benefit for Kevin to keep Neha? I mean, he knows that she's not going after him. She knows she's going after, excuse me, she's going after Greg. But what happens when Craig leaves? He probably doesn't. He probably feels like he's not too far from the top of her hit list. So I don't know. I think if Kevin doesn't nominate Neha, it's going to I don't know. It's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. I don't know. It's a tough decision, Keith.
I know what you mean, and I really liked what you said about sending the message, because if he nominates Neha, then it's an easy thing. The house can still be on the honeymoon stage, and everybody's having fine, or everybody's gonna be fine. If he doesn't nominate Neha, then that's when things really turn south for Kevin's game, and he's already a target, you know. So if it means doing what the house wants or what the chop shop wants,
Right.
nominating Neha for the further advancement to buy himself a couple more rounds, then he may have to do it. Now, we answered the question based on Kevin's perspective. If we were Kevin, now knowing everything you know and the dynamics in the house, what would be the smartest move for him?
Well, what I want to say real quick
Okay.
before I answer that is, going back to like if I'm Kevin,
Yeah.
I think if he is willing to be lumped in with Johnny, Neha, Sarah, and Britt, then nominate someone else. That'll be the best move for him. Take a shot at someone you know isn't on your side. Maybe put up Ashley and Willow. Um,
There's
but
no way.
I know. But
Yeah.
that's if he's willing to be lumped into that group, then that's what he should do. Something or just nominate anyone else. But if he doesn't want to get lumped in with those individuals, which I'm thinking is what he's probably he doesn't want to do, then nominate Neha.
Yeah.
And knowing what we know, obviously I would want him to nominate two people from the Chop Shop
Yeah.
because in a perfect world, if he watched the show, if he got rid of, let's say, Bobby, then it's taking a number away from Zach and Jordan, and it kind of makes them more. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? They'll need Kevin more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he could get away with putting Bobby up. Like it wouldn't be that big of an earth shaker. He doesn't have to take Greg out, all right? But he could put up Bobby and just say, you put me up, I'm putting you up. Put him next to Ashley. I don't know. Put him next to someone. I think that would ultimately be the best move because Bobby is going after him or was going after him. Of course, Kevin doesn't know all this, and we have the benefit of seeing everyone else's thoughts in the live feeds and all that jazz. So
So
that's how
if
I
the
feel.
nominations were to be predictable, let's just go through the last, what would be the last 3 weeks post veto nominations. Risha and Pilar,
Hmm.
Cindy with an S, and Brittany, and now what I think is going to happen, Neha and Sarah. Those are all 6 different women that have all experienced being on the blog post veto. It's shaping up to be a very ugly season, but I think this is only happening because of that, because the girls isolated themselves inside the HOH room. I think there is still hope for the games of as soon as the guys start turning on each other, I think the girls that remain could have a shot at staying long term. So it sucks right now. It's really rough to watch, and you don't want it to happen, but it is what it is. It's not unwarranted, and yeah, it's just a matter of time before like the men start taking out the men, and that's when I think there's going to be some sparks flying, and I'm looking forward to that.
And I think that's what players like Jordan and Zach are preparing for. Like we have Zach have a great relationship with Ashley. He has a great relationship with Willow. Um, Jordan's been doing a really good job of socializing with Kevin, and in turn, a lot of the other girls. Zach has been socializing a lot with Brittany and Neha. Um, and I think that's what they're preparing for, and I think that's what everyone should be doing. But we've got so many players that are wrapped up in like this battle of the sexes mentality, and I think that's so dumb because why alienate yourself or restrict yourself from working with half of the house just because they're a girl or just because they're a guy? And anyone that sees past that and sees through that and is making relationships with people rather than genders, I think it's going to help them leaps and bounds, and that's why I feel like Zach and Jordan are in the greatest position at the moment.
Yeah.
So we kind of gave our predictions of who we think's going up. Obviously, I'm going to say if Neha goes up, she's going home, especially since it's an instant eviction. I really hope that doesn't happen, but I'm not holding my breath for anything else. Keith, quick question: who would you say is your favorite? I would say in the best position, but I think we already answered that. So, who is your favorite house guest, and who is your least favorite house guest currently?
My favorite house guest right now is still the same as last week is Zach. I really enjoy everything that he's bringing to the game, and I'm proud of the game he's playing. And my least favorite house guest at the moment is Godfrey. Unfortunately, I just saw way too many DR footages of him, and I am fine without seeing them, you know? So, like, I don't like what he's bringing to the game. He's the sexist one out of everybody in the house after seeing that Eliminator competition. So, and then the comments that he was saying, and then bullying Cindy with no grounds, like, all right, Godfrey, you just totally went to the bottom of the list.
Yeah, I agree. My favorite, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna say Neha because I don't know how much more I'll be able to. I don't know how many more opportunities I'll get to
Aw.
give her name. So I gotta. And I was just so. I'm watching it on my computer in my room, and every time Neha gets one right, I'm like jumping for joy. And it's so great when a player invokes that emotion out of you. And I love Neha so much, and I really hope that she can fight and try and work some magic, try and make some deals to stay in the house. And least favorite, it's a tight race, Keith, between Greg and Godfrey, and I think I'll say Godfrey just because Greg, I don't think he's a good player, but at least he's in an alliance, so he's doing what he feels is best in alliance. And I'm gonna have to say Godfrey is my least favorite, just because he's not even in a solid alliance. He's calling people out. He has a horrible strategy, and he's just caught up in this whole battle of the sexes mentality, which I think is so basic, is so short-sighted, and I don't know. We were talking earlier about Godfrey, about how some of the stupid things he was doing on the live feeds and whether or not he faked it. And I think his DRs tonight confirmed that no, he is in fact just a bad player.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't want to hate on anyone too much, but that's just how I'm feeling at the moment.
And your feelings are valid.
Thank you, thank you. So it should be a very interesting round, I guess, since it's an instant eviction. I'm really bummed that the live feeds will be down until Sunday night, so it is what it is. But definitely make sure that you guys tune in for the Sunday instant eviction episode. I'm sure it'll be very intense, lots and lots of drama, and so you definitely do not want to miss out on our breakdown of the episode. Keith, is there anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, make sure you live tweet with us during the episodes at Jacob Harple, at Sarcastivities, at Most Humble. Like
Yeah.
us on Facebook. We have a nice little Facebook page just for you.
It's pretty nice.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Big Brother Basics. And remember,
Stay basic. Is that it? Okay, yeah. Stay basic.
stay basic. Bye!